Welcome back to Chasing Dreams Homestead.
Hi, dreamers.
So for those of you that are just following our YouTube channel and haven't yet followed our Facebook group, Chasing Dreams Homestead on Facebook, we refer to our members as dreamers. The reason for that is we're all sharing our dreams and our journey with one another. So we're a group of dreamers that are sharing our homesteading experiences and knowledge with one another. This is going to be the first of a multi-part video series covering a breed that we just absolutely love. Mama Dreams has fallen in love with this breed. We've raised several pig breeds over the years, but once we started with the Kunees, there was no turning back. This is the breed for us. Stay tuned and we will get you guys going with a bunch of information over the next few videos in this video series about Kunees that we have learned from our time raising Kunees. All right, y'all, so we're going to go over the different terminology around pigs. Now, if you've raised pigs, you know these things, so this part of the video series may not be helpful for you, but stay tuned, stick with us. I guarantee you throughout the multiple parts of this series, you'll learn a thing or two, at least from our experience. Now, first and foremost, we'll just go over the basic terms. When I was in the military, we said, break it down Barney style. What that means is we're going to make this as simple as possible so that it's as easy to understand as possible. So the first thing we'll go over is a male pig. Now, a young, intact male, meaning they have their testicles, is called a boreling. A neutered or castrated male is called a barrow. Most people either neuter or castrate a male that they want to raise for meat, or they want to be a partner to their boar, a buddy, so that they're not alone in their pen. Now, speaking on that, you want to be able to control your breedings. So if you're going to have these pigs, or any pigs for that matter, it's always a good idea to have a boar pen and then a gilt and sow pen. Pigs do not like to be alone. They're a social animal like most livestock. So it's always a good idea to have a boar and a barrow. Now, for our purposes, we have our boar in the back with a different breed of female. So we're not worried if they breed. We hope he does, but we'll find out. She's a totally different breed. She's a taller girl. We'll see if he can make it happen. Now, we are going to raise some boreling piglets, and at that point, we will have boarlings and barrows in a pen together. Now, a female pig is going to be a gilt or a sow. A gilt is a young female that has not yet had piglets, and a sow is a female that has had piglets. Another term or set of terms that you'll get used to is if you go the registered route, you will have a dame and a sire. A dame is the mama pig on the pedigree, and the sire is the papa pig on the pedigree. So those are the basic terminologies when referring to pigs. You've got your boreling, your barrow, your gilt, your sow, your dame, and your sire. Now, the next thing we'll talk about is the different body parts. Now, something that's very well associated with the Kunees are the wattles. They don't have to have wattles to be registered, though. We got our pigs, every one of them except for one has wattles. That's a personal preference of ours. The registry does not mind if they have wattles or not. They're still registrable without the wattles. A lot of folks, the general consensus is the wattles serve no purpose. They're just ornamental. Now, I have found one article that says wattles reflect a greater level of testosterone in the pig, and wattles in a breed of pig reflects that they have a genetic diversity that makes them more disease resistant. I don't know how true that is or not. We don't really know. We're just going to go with the general consensus that the wattles really serve no purpose, because we've not seen a difference in our pigs with wattles and our pigs without wattles. So the next body part that you would want to discuss when it comes to pigs in general, but this is something that we look for in our breeding stock Kunees. You want a nice flat back line. You want, when you're looking at that pig and that pig standing, a nice strong flat back. You don't want it arched up and you don't want it sagging. We look for that, and we also look for a long back, because a long back female has a greater ability to carry piglets, and also longer back pigs, when it gets to the meat discussion, obviously have longer loins and whatnot. So we specifically look for a long, flat, strong back on our pigs. After that, you get the pasterns. The pasterns are the shock absorbers of the pig. Okay, so if you're imagining my arm, as the pig's leg. The pastern would be right here above the hoof and the foot, okay? Now, if you're looking at a pig's pastern, you do not want one to where their foot looks like it's flat, like a 90 degree. That is a very weak pastern. You also do not want their standing with their legs upright like this. You want a slight angulation. Slight is good, too much is bad, too little is bad. There are multiple references online that you can get and look at what's considered a good pastern and what's not, but the pastern is very important as well, especially when you're trying to grow out breeding stock. Now, if you're just growing meat pigs and they're going to have a short life, a bad pastern is not really a big deal. After the pastern, the next important thing is teats. Now, the AKKPS, a part of their breed standard, says they have to have at least 10 evenly spaced teats. It doesn't say they have to have an even number of teats or anything like that. It just says at least 10 evenly spaced teats. Now, we learned that the hard way. Our last litter, we didn't register a boarling because he had 11 teats. I took the advice of a friend, or the interpretation of a friend, on what the registry standard was, and we're very strict on what we're going to register and what we won't register. And at that time, I was following that mentor's advice, and we didn't register that piglet. Now, having looked over the standard for ourselves, that piglet was perfectly registerable. He was fine. His teats were evenly spaced, and he had more than 10. You know, over the years, we have raised so many different breeds of pigs. We started out way back in Carolina with commercial pigs, when we got the bright idea that we were going to raise pigs for meat and other livestock for meat, because we wanted to be in control of the meat we were consuming in our lives. So we started out with those commercial pigs. Those pigs were rowdy, they were wild. When we got them as little babies, they were wild. The lady actually taped the mouth shut so that I could take them home, because she was like, "It'll bite you," and she wasn't lying. Now, when it's a baby, that's not that intimidating. But when they get 250, 300 pounds and they're still growing, it gets a little scary, especially for her. I was working a lot, and at some point, she was like, I'm not going to feed these pigs. I can't go in there anymore. They scare me. So those pigs, you know, met their fate, so to say. I mean, the commercial pigs are, you know, they're pretty much designed for one thing: fast meat. That's it. They're not designed to be a docile, friendly pig. They're not designed to have a very high quality of meat. It's just fast meat. And at least on our homestead, we like slow grown meat. We say happy meat is the best meat. Any animal that we raise for consumption has a life full of love up until the day it's harvested. They all have a lifetime of good days and then one bad moment. And they don't even realize the bad moment's coming the way we do it, at least. We just really like the ability to be in control of the meat that we put into our bodies. Now, we've also, when we moved from Carolina up to southern Indiana, we started raising some Tamworth, some AGH, some other variety of pigs all mixed together. We raised some mutt pigs, we raised some purebreds, and they weren't terrible pigs at all. The Tamworth AGH cross we had, they were pretty decent.
I could lay with them.
Yeah. They were lazy.
Very lazy.
They weren't personable like the Coonies. And they got very big. So that was a concern, not necessarily that they were mean, because they were not mean. They were extremely lazy, but that began to be a concern. We didn't want our kids interacting too much with them, especially without supervision. Now, any pig could be a threat to a person or a kid, but these Coonies, they're so daggum docile. I don't have a fear of them around our kids, and that's a huge pro to us. And also, the Coonies are just such, you know, I hate to say it, but they're like a pet. So that does make the harvest time hard, but they look forward to the attention from us, and they just want to lay over and say, "Love on me," you know. They're not an overbearing pig like other pigs we had. So even if these pigs were a 400-pound pig, they wouldn't be overbearing. They wouldn't be all on your space trying to be super demanding. Now, these girls come up and they want to be loved on, and Dylan will show you our sweet girl Tippy here. She's coming up, she wants pets. They love to be loved on. That's just these pigs for you, and we love it. But she wasn't very fast moving, she wasn't very aggressive, she just came right on up to us. So we've covered the different terms. We've covered the body parts.
One more thing on the body parts.
What else, babe?
Their ears.
The ears, that's right. Thank you, Mama Dreams, for reminding me of that. Now, when you're looking at pigs, the ears, there are 3 acceptable kinds of ears, okay? You've got erect ears that are straight up, kind of like a Boston Terrier. You've got some flopped ears that'll flop off to the sides a little bit there.
So cute.
And those are cute. And then you've got the inclined forward ears, okay? So they'll be flopped to the front and folded a little bit. Now, there's another term for some ears that you really want to stay away from unless, again, you're raising it for a quick meat pig or something. It would not be anything that we would ever register, but they call them taco ears. So all that is another version of a folded ear, but it's folded so tight that the ear's not open. So what could happen in that scenario is the pigs are more prone to any kind of skin infections or possible ear infections and whatnot. So it's an ear that we stay away from, at least on our homestead. So we've covered the different body parts. In our next video series, we will go over general maintenance and the feed that we give the Coonies. Now, there are tons of perfectly acceptable types of hog feed out there. Coonies are different than most pigs, and that's also another plus to us on the Coonies is that feed difference, and we'll talk about that in the next one. Now, the only other part that we're going to cover in this video, since we've gone over the body parts and the basic terminology, are we started with unregistered, we moved to registered. How did that happen? Why did that happen? Back when we first got started with these Coonies, we got one unregistered female, and she just stole Mama Dreams' heart. She was awesome. She's actually at our friends over in Kentucky, which makes us happy because we know she's living out her life and having a great time.
Pack Farms.
Yeah. So she started her life in the house. She was awesome until she figured out how to open the refrigerator.
Yeah.
We came home and she had 2 shelves of the refrigerator pulled out on the floor. She was laying there snoring, and like I can tell you guys, that pig had a smile on her face. She was happy as it could be. So that got her to be moved out of the house at that point.
Yeah.
But we had a really hard time finding a purebred unregistered male for her. We finally found one, but it took us like, I don't know, it seemed like a year and a half maybe to find one. And you can look at a pig and you can say, okay, that pig's got a little Kuni in it, or that pig's a high percentage Kuni, but something's off a little. Yeah. And that's what we kept running into, you know. And I don't know if people were willingly deceiving and saying that they had Coonies, or if those people were just trying to say they had Coonies because that's what they were told when they got those pigs. That's just the way it kind of happens. So after we fell in love with the breed, we were like, you know what? We like this breed a whole lot. This is the pig for us. We're going to keep these guys around. So we decided we were going to go with registered stock. Mm-hmm. We wanted to go with registered stock so that we could increase our herd size, for one. Because again, like I said, it was hard to find a purebred Kuni that's not registered. People just put all kinds of different stuff in the recipe, but then sell it to you as a Kuni. So we wanted to go that registered route because you can't fake it with the registered pigs, because every single one of them is DNA profiled. Yep. So we know without a shadow of a doubt, our pigs are 100% Kuni. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The registry, every pig that is registered, every breeding stock, it's all DNA profiled. So if someone tried to send in papers and say this piglet is off of these 2 pigs, well, guess what? UC Davis is going to run the DNA before the registry or register them, and if that's not the DNA that matches up to those parent pigs, it's not going to happen. Yeah. So we were pretty confident and excited to go the registered route. Now here's the thing about the registered route, and I'm glad we started with the unregistered route, because if years ago, if Mama Dreams would have said, hey babe, let's go get this piglet, cool, on the way, by the way, it's $600. Pump the brakes. That ain't happening. $600 for a pig.
It's so cute.
I don't like to tell her no often, but I sure told her no right then and there, you know. But once we got, you know, used to the breed and knew that it was the breed for us, it was a worthwhile investment. So pros to switching over to the registered stock: we have the ability to expand our herd now with sure, pure Coonies. Mm-hmm. We know that they have a DNA profile the pedigree, once you start learning the pedigree, you're able to look at different breed lines within the KuneKune breed and determine traits from those lines that you want in your pigs. So you're able to know the ingredients and put that in your recipe for the pig you want. It takes some time, it takes studying the pedigrees, it takes learning which lines throw which characteristics and traits, but for us it's a worthwhile endeavor. So we've got that going. Also, if you were someone that were trying to breed Kunees and, you know, make a profit on them or whatnot, I guess if you had some registered litters, you'd be able to sell those piglets for more money than an unregistered piglet. At our point right now, we're just getting our girls growing up and starting kind of down the registered journey. I think we've got, what, 5 now, babe?
Yeah.
5 registered piglets. She's distracted by this little love bug. Let them see her, Dylan.
She just flopped over and expects me to, like, okay, rub.
That's what they do. That's
rub.
so that little lady
Look,
is
here
Cookie.
comes the other one.
Yep.
They just think when one rolls, I'm gonna get rubbed too.
Yep. But that's the pros to the registered route. So I encourage folks, if you want to get to know this breed or any animal breed for that matter, start with the unregistered. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that because it gives you a chance to learn if it's a right breed for you, a right animal for you before you make that massive investment. Now on our end, we've made that massive investment, but any offspring we have, we know they are surely KuneKune, so we're comfortable with that. And it takes time. We built up slowly, and now we're on the search for a boarling because the only boar we have at the moment is our unregistered boar, Jameson, that we went all the way to Iowa for.
Yeah.
Dude is amazing, and he was off of registered stock. There was something that happened with the girl we got him from. She got the parents or something, and paperwork just never came through. But Jameson is all day long pure KuneKune. So
and he's perfect. Like, he would, if he was able to be registered, like, he is
the breed standard
yeah.
all day long. Yeah, and he's my buddy.
Yeah,
She's turned him into a daggum dog. Basically, he sits around the bonfire with me and enjoys hanging out around a fire at night. So that's our only boar at the moment. Now our girl Tippy went down the road to our neighbor's boar. Theirs is registered, and we're hoping that she'll give us some babies. But so we're going to be looking for some boarlings soon, and that's just so that we have registered boars around the homestead. We started with the girls we wanted, and you always want to start with your girls, get them raised up ahead of your boars.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because accidents happen sometimes, and we don't want any of our girls being bred too early in their life. We have found with all animals, if you let them mature, they become better mothers, and they are also just mentally more fit for the task at hand of raising piglets. Young ones tend to have health problems, pregnancy problems. They leave their babies. They're not as attentive. So it's just something that we do out of, you know, responsibility to the animal as we get our girls first in a breed and we let them get some age on them before we bring a boy along in case things happen. You know, we have kids, gates get left open, whatnot, things could happen, and we just want to be careful with any breedings that may happen. Yeah. So that big girl right there is Tippy, y'all. We absolutely love her. She is such a sweetie. And we think she's going to have us piglets next month. We're pretty excited about that. She was running with a boar for a while and came home and is looking very much pregnant. These are our babies, though. Absolutely love them. That girl that he's rubbing on right now, Dylan is rubbing on, that's Cookie. That's Tippy's daughter off of her first litter that we had with Tippy. And we got little Bama over there. It's Alabama Rose. She is a sweet girl too. We went down to Alabama for her, so that's where her name Bama came from. And then obviously with her being ginger, we went with Rose. So Alabama Rose, a beautiful girl.
Sweet girl.
Sweet girl Tippy.
Yeah, Tippy.
And then we got little Ophelia down there with Mama Dreams.
to get her from KC Farms. We absolutely love her and are so grateful that we came across their YouTube channel.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, we would have never known about her, and so grateful to have her.
And that's Dolly.
Hi, Dolly.
Dolly's a good girl too. She also came from down in Alabama at Ross Cooney Farms. Just great pigs in general.
Yeah, they are. I feel like they're very much a family-oriented pig. We do spend a lot of time with them to get them lovable.
They're awesome, guys.
They're very docile pigs.
They're docile, and Mama Dreams is not intimidated by them.
No. Like, I mean, as you can see, like, I think there's all on it. Oh, did I interrupt your eating?
Well, y'all.
Cookie. Oh, Cookie.
We like to say around here, till next time,